Don't hold your breath. It's Wednesdays. Oh my word, it's Wednesday again. Hello and welcome to yet another episode of Wednesdays with Woody, where we interrupt your regular scheduling to bring you this hot-ass mess of a show where we'll be discussing everything trending and topical. I am so glad that you're all here, that you're back, that you're present. I hope that your Wednesday, in fact, I hope that your week so far has been quite peaceful and full of love and full of light. Yeah, that's my hope for you guys. If you haven't guessed it, I am your host, Woody Woods, who is currently just, full of good vibes and good intentions. And I will be taking you through these Wednesday sessions. I often get the feeling that there's actually quite a lot happening in the world, and it just becomes a sensory overload with information, so much in the news this past week. Some of it really good stuff, some of it stuff that you just look at and you're like, oh no, not another one of that, or I don't want to entertain that. But some feel good stuff this week was, okay, not feel good, but I suppose it just made me, was like, oh yes, finally, can't wait. The Wakanda Forever trailer, yes, loved it. I do have my own critiques about it though. I was a bit alarmed that, whatever. It was a good trailer. The beginning was a bit slow, but I was like, oh, it's a good trailer. What will the storyline take on? My sisters actually joked and said, oh, I hope it's not like some colonization take. I hope it's something fresh and exciting. As black people, our story cannot continuously be that of suffering at the hands of oppressors, which is something the media loves to punt and loves to portray. It's a bit boring, but I get why it's done. I get why it's done. So that was a really good one. Something else that delighted me this weekend was Billy Porter's Anything's Possible on Prime Video. Oh my gosh, what a good movie, what a good feel rom-com, which follows a black trans character as they navigate life. It's a coming of age story, but as they fall in love and find love, it was so good. It was really good. I was shockingly surprised, I would say. I was shockingly surprised at how wholesome it made me feel. I was busy watching with Ryan, and he said, oh, this movie started off so bad, but as we were going through it, something that he loves doing is saying, oh my gosh, that scene was amazing. What an amazing scene that was. That was an amazing scene, but that was definitely after the peak, after the tension had been realized in the movie. It was really quite enjoyable. I really do recommend everyone goes and watches Anything's Possible on Prime. It was good. It was a good to see. As I keep saying, it's always good to see representations that are unfamiliar, representations and experiences that you would otherwise not be or have access to in your personal life. It's always good to see those. So that movie, wholesome, feel good, yes, 10s across the board. It did remind me a little bit of a young Blanca from Pose. If anyone's ever watched that before, it did remind me. The character was just reminiscent of a young Blanca from Pose, which was so cute. I do recall last week me explicitly saying I did not want to comment on Ted Cruz's comments around same-sex marriages, but after last week Tuesday, wow, y'all are on a mission. Last week Tuesday, 157 Republicans voted against same-sex marriages and interracial relationship marriages. Did I say that correctly? Interracial marriages, not interracial relationships. Well, it's the same thing. It's a relationship. Marriage is a relationship, but anyway. Interracial marriages, I was like, what on earth is going on there in the Americas? Like, it's wild out there. It's looking kind of scary. I'm severely concerned for my LGBTQIA plus brothers and sisters. I always like adding the men who have sex with men, but we're not ready for that kind of worms. I know that the straights are just not ready for that kind of worms just yet. But yeah, it's quite shocking and a little bit unnerving. I really do hope some peace is found with this heightened homophobia, and that's what I'm gonna call it. I'm gonna call it an attack on LGBTQIA plus people. And as I said in June, you know, it's so important for LGBTQIA people. It's so important for LGBTQIA plus people to continue to remain vocal about their experiences, about the lives that they're leading, you know, so that it just becomes a norm, specifically in mainstream culture. The worst thing that could possibly happen is if we live these secret lives and our rights are just ripped from us. And finally, this weekend, the World Health Organization declares monkeypox a global emergency. And though I'm very pleased and very happy with the direction of this announcement, there are some issues, some racial issues, specifically when it comes to the fact that this disease has been around in Africa for, I think, a number of years, and only when it reaches its clutches up into the north, you know, and takes a grip of the society, only then do we see fit to recognize it as an issue and as a problem that is affecting people, and not something that doesn't make headlines because it's happening in Africa. It's quite alarming, but as always, and as I will keep saying, we need to do better by each other as human beings. It's so important. It's so important to have discussions around systemic racism, to have discussions around systemic biases, to really get to the root of these issues so that we can all feel like we are, one, all being treated as human beings on this planet, that we call home, and not as, I don't know, as things not part of the system. And this goes for so many things, obviously. LGBTQIA plus people, trans people. Yeah. Pronouns, so many things that we need to see each other as human beings, first and foremost, before we see each other for the labels that we choose to slap on other people, or the ones that we choose to label ourselves with. Yeah. But like I said, there is so much, oh my gosh, there is just so much going on in the world, so much that needs discussion, so much that needs a moment to just reflect on what we're consuming through the media, in our personal lives, whatever the case might be. But yeah, jeez, it's wild out there. You know, I keep telling myself not to take this podcast to heavy places. Keep it light, keep it flirty, keep it entertaining. But the world keeps showing me that actually maybe we don't need that anymore. Maybe we do need these hard-hitting topics that really have us looking at ourselves, reflecting, growing as human beings. Or maybe the reality is that I'm just getting old. And I want things with substance, things that feel of quality, and things that make me think and broaden my intellectual horizons. I don't know, maybe I'm just clowning. Yeah, maybe I'm just clowning. Something else that I'm really excited about this week is, okay, fine, I am in the hive. Is the Beyonce album Renaissance. I'm eagerly waiting for this album. I read somewhere that the album was inspired by her gay uncle, which was beautiful to think about. And I hope that it just wasn't a tick box exercise to be like, how am I going to reach the gays? No. Please. Please give us something of substance and quality. So I'm really eagerly awaiting the Renaissance album, and just to listen to it, just to vibe to something light-hearted and flirty, to escape from this world. It's been one hell of a rough week, with everything that's been happening in the news. And we need to find moments of joy, moments that we can celebrate and dance around to, and just have a really good time. The world is currently a very horrifying place. You know, we are in a pandemic, in a war, in a recession. There's a lot going on. There's a lot going on for this generation of people, and I'm hoping that, you know what, we can just find some peace, find some joy, find something to make our hearts just escape from the madness of the world and into something, I don't know, something joyous, even if it's just for a little bit. So, as we proceed into the second half of 2022, I am hoping that the next couple of months just bring peace to those who need it, bring joy to those who require it, and bring self-awareness. Yeah, let's bring self-awareness to the table. I think we could all do with a little bit of that, as well as reflection. Yeah. I hope that you have enjoyed this week's podcast, even though it was just news highlights and not necessarily discussing a specific topic. But join us next week. Join us next week when we'll be discussing only heaven knows what we'll be discussing. Only heaven knows what horrors will have, I don't know, infiltrated their way into my life and require some focused debate, you know. But I am wishing you guys a merry week ahead. Maybe a merry week ahead. May it be filled with just lots of light, lots of love, lots of joy. And I want to thank you, as always, for tuning in and listening to this crazy podcast. Yeah, you can find me on all social networks. I am Woody Woods. Follow me, say hi, let me know what you want to hear on the podcast, let me know what I can improve upon. I can think of several things I can improve upon, but let me hear from you guys. I would love to. So yeah, until we meet again on Wednesdays with Woody, enjoy your week, guys. Bye.